Well, good morning, and thank you all so much for having me. I'd like to thank the Office of Professional Development for letting us do this collaboration with them today. This is our second session, and I think everybody in the first session really enjoyed it, and we got to have a lot of fun. So I'm going to go into a little more depth on how to use Windows 10. Normally what I like to do is demonstrate some skills up here on the monitor, and then have you try them at your desk. So let's go ahead and get started. Hopefully you're already signed into your computer. Yours should look similar to mine. You might have Windows 10 Education. I have Windows 10 Business. So if your screen doesn't look exactly like my screen, don't worry about it. Just follow along up here on the monitor or look on a neighbor's computer. So has anybody used Software Center yet to install Software Center? It's a cool new resource that we have. It's mostly Microsoft software. You can upgrade to Windows 10. You can install Office 2016. You can install Visio or Project. So to install Windows 10, we would just search for Software Center in Windows 7. It'll open. On the left-hand side, you'll see a box that says Operating Systems. So I'm going to click on this box and then click the Windows 10 upgrade. If you don't find Software Center, or if Software Center opens and there is no Windows 10 operating system available, then you'll need to call the service desk, and we'll have to get a little more firm with it. We'll have to put Windows 10 on there through a reload. But when you click on this Windows 10 upgrade, you'll see this big scary box that opens that says, you are installing a new operating system. Are you sure you want to do this? And it'll say something about losing all your data. So far, we have not seen anybody lose all their data doing that update. As long as you are syncing your information to DFS, faculty and staff have a much lower risk of losing data than students. We don't back up student data onto our server. So for faculty and staff, there's a very low risk for doing the update. So I would definitely recommend it. Like Eric said, it should only take about an hour. Also, if you would like to install Office 2016 after you've installed Windows 10 just to have updated software, you can do that through Software Center as well. So let's look at some differences between Windows 10 and Windows 7. Does anybody see some differences? I've got a screenshot here of the Windows 7 Start menu and then a screenshot of the Windows 10 Start menu. So what do we notice that's different? Yep, we have our tiles. These are just software applications. They brought that feature in from Windows 8. Windows 8 was a little more tablet oriented. So if you like those live tiles and the software over here off to the side on your start menu, you can use that as well in Windows 10. There's actually a feature that I wouldn't necessarily recommend, but if you want your whole screen to look like Windows 8 in tablet form, you can change it to that as well. So we have a different color scheme. The start button is a little different. They've gone with more of a square or rectangular start button, black background with a white Windows logo. Like Eric mentioned, the programs are listed in alphabetical order, with our most frequently used programs listed up here at the top. So as you can see, yours are probably similar to mine. I use Google Chrome, Outlook, Skype for Business, Word. And as you click on different programs, if you have something that you use more often, this list can change too. So one thing when I first installed Windows 10 on my computer, I thought, how do I sign out? How do I switch users if I want to log in as local manager? So the way to do that is to just do a quick Control-Alt-Delete. I wouldn't recommend doing it on the library computer just because that screen is going to look a little different from how the library computers are configured. But when you get back to your office and you have Windows 10, if you want to do more than just shut down or restart, if you want to be able to lock or switch user or log out, you would just do a Control-Alt-Delete. There's also the option from that Control-Alt-Delete screen. I'll show you what that looks like. Or maybe I can't. Might not project. There's also an option from that Control-Alt-Delete screen to look at your Wi-Fi settings and to shut down or restart. So that is a good thing to know. You can also get to the task manager from there. In a little bit, we'll cover the multiple desktop feature. They've also added a new web browser called Microsoft Edge. And then they are keeping Internet Explorer. Is anybody in here a big fan of Internet Explorer? That's your main web browser? main web browser. And I do know that Internet Explorer, I know for some banner applications, Internet Explorer is still necessary, but they're starting to transition users to Microsoft Edge. So if you are interested in shopping around for a new web browser, now is a good time to do so. Okay, so let's take a look in a little more detail at the Start menu. To open the Start menu, you can click in the bottom lower left-hand corner on the Start button, or you can click on the Windows button, which is located 2 buttons to the left of your spacebar on your keyboard. So what we can do, we can customize the Start menu to find programs easier. So let me show you what I mean by that. I'm going to escape out of my PowerPoint and click on my Start button. So this has all of my programs that I've pinned. We have my frequently used programs over here, and we have our alphabetical programs listed over here on the left as well. So say I want to be able to find Microsoft Access easier. What I can do, I can right-click on Access, and it gives me some options. I can click Pin to Start, which is my first option, or Pin to Taskbar, which would put it down here at the bottom. If I click Pin to Start, Access shows up in a tile form down here at the bottom of my Start menu. The cool thing is I can organize this however I would like. I can click it and drag it up to the top, and if you'll notice, while I am clicking on it, the other tiles will move around to make room for it. So I can put it right here at the very top if I want to. I can put it toward the middle, and all the tiles will just move around and make room for it. Okay, so go ahead and add a program, and then see if you can click and drag that tile to move it around for better organization. So I would recommend just doing one of the programs close to the top, but you'll just need to right-click and click Pin to Start menu. And we will be around to help if anybody needs help. Is there anybody who needs help adding a tile? Yeah, Windows 10 has a lot of nice organizational features. Another thing we can talk about, I know Eric already touched on this, is how do I find Office? Because one of the questions we get down at the service desk pretty regularly once we install Windows 10 is where is Office? Because in Windows 7, there was a Microsoft Office folder that you would click on, and all the Office programs would be listed underneath there. But for Windows 10, they've broken them down in alphabetical order. So like Eric said, Excel would be listed under the letter E. Word would be listed under the letter W. So if I close out of my PowerPoint and I open my Start menu, if I scroll down here, and we can scroll down right there, I can scroll down and find my letter E. Excel is listed right here. If I scroll down a little more, all the way to the bottom, Word is listed under the letter W. So go ahead and see if you can find some of the Office programs. Maybe see if you can find PowerPoint, Outlook, any of your typical Office programs. Xbox, yes. That one's probably all the way at the bottom. Is anybody having difficulty finding a program? It's not too hard to do. Okay, the next skill we should probably talk about is how to find File Explorer. Has anybody used File Explorer with Windows 7 or Windows 10? File Explorer is pretty popular, and it looks just like a manila file folder. It's right down here on my taskbar. Looks like one of our file folders that we can store papers in. So File Explorer is helpful because if I click on it, it opens up and I can look at my documents, my pictures, my desktop. So if I'm trying to find a certain item that I've saved, that's where I can go to look for it. I have mine pinned down here on my taskbar, but if you don't see this folder icon down here, we can click in our search bar and type in File Explorer. A quick note about the search bar. In Windows 7, you had to click on the Start button to open your search bar. In Windows 10, it's just open right down here on the taskbar. If you don't see this search bar down here, you might see a magnifying glass. You'll have to click on that first, and then that'll open the search bar. So if I click File Explorer and click Enter, this will open. One difference that you might notice between Windows 7 and Windows 10 is that over here on the left, we have a feature called Quick Access. This used to be called Favorites in Windows 7. So what we can do, we can right-click on Quick Access, and whatever folder we have open, we can click Pin Current Folder to Quick Access. So if you don't want to have to search for a certain folder every time you open the File Explorer, you can just have it pinned right there to Quick Access. The second thing we need to discuss with File Explorer is how to locate DFS, because some software is located in the Software Center now, but a lot of the academic software is still installed from DFS. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click up here in my search bar. I'm going to delete the text there. Then I'll type in \\, and that's the one above the Enter key, rose-holman.edu \DFS, and I'll click Enter. Because I've worked in DFS before on my computer, it opens automatically. If yours doesn't open automatically, it might prompt you to sign in using a username and password. If you are having difficulty and it doesn't give you that option, it just says I can't connect to DFS, you might want to check your internet settings down here and make sure that you're connected to Eduroam. Eduroam allows you to get to our internal sites such as DFS or the print server. If you're connected to RIT Open, you'll only be able to access external websites, like if you need to look up a news article. So it's just \\, rose-holman.edu \DFS. So take a minute and see if you can open the File Explorer and see if you can locate DFS. And if you have forgotten your username and password or are having difficulty signing into DFS, don't worry about it. We just want to make sure you can get to the File Explorer. And we can always help you out at the service desk if you're having issues. Jean helped you?
Did I already have it?
You must have already signed into it before. If you hadn't signed into it before, it would prompt you for credentials. So it's not too hard to find. And then, like I said, you can go to that Quick Access feature, right-click, click Pin Current Folder to Quick Access, and then it'll just be located over here on your left, and you won't have to search for it every time you open that folder.
Oh.
So something else that I also wanted to mention today is I wanted to show you how to change your default settings, your default applications, because that's something else we get questions about down at the service desk pretty regularly. If somebody sends you an email and you click on the link in that email, and we're hoping that this is an email from somebody you trust and not some spam email that we're getting, but it will open in whatever web browser you have set as your default. So Windows 10 comes with the default settings of Microsoft Edge for the web browser and Foxit Reader for the PDF. Foxit Reader is just a free program. I haven't used it extensively, but I'm told that it has a few more editing capabilities than Adobe Reader does. It's kind of a little bit between Adobe Reader and Adobe Acrobat. So you're welcome to try Foxit Reader, but I'm probably a little more, I probably prefer Adobe products a little more. But this is all about your preferences when using Windows 10. So let me show you how we can get to our default applications. We'll do this in 4 clicks. I'll close out of my PowerPoint. I will click on the Start button in the lower left-hand corner. And over here, you'll see the Settings button, which kind of looks like a gear. I'll click on my settings. And then up here on the left, we have the System option. I'll click System. So Start, Settings, System. And then on the left, we also have Default Apps. So if I click the third one down on Default Apps, we'll see this menu open. So as you can see, my default web browser has been set to Google Chrome. That's just my preference. You can set yours to whichever is your favorite web browser. So I scroll down a little bit. I can click on Google Chrome. And when I click on it, it shows me what web browsers I have installed. So I can choose among Google Chrome, Internet Explorer, or Microsoft Edge. All I have to do is click on that new web browser, and it's changed. If I want to change it back, I click again, and I click Google Chrome. So then what this means is every time you get one of those emails with a link in it from somebody we trust, and we click on that link, it will open in your preferred web browser. So the next one is a little more complicated just because there are more choices. If I want to change my PDF settings, I'll click right here in the Choose Default Apps by File Type. If I click there, we're going to see a very, very long list in alphabetical order of every different file type we can have on our computer. So I'm going to scroll almost all the way to the bottom to find the letter P, and I'm looking for .pdf. So here is mine, .pdf. It's located under .pdb and above .pdf XML. And if you can see, I have Adobe Acrobat Reader listed there. I can click on this, and it's also going to show me my different options. I can change it to Foxit Reader, Google Chrome, Microsoft Edge, or Word 2016. I would recommend clicking an actual PDF viewer, either Adobe or Foxit. I think that the web browsers are a little more difficult to work with, and my preference is to use an actual PDF viewer to view PDFs. So then when you get that email in your inbox and somebody has sent you a PDF file, it will open in your preferred PDF viewer. So all you have to do again is click. It immediately changes. You can click again. Choose whichever one you want. So go ahead and take a minute, if you haven't already, to change your default web browser and look at your default PDF viewer. See if you can make a change there. Do you see that on there?
So at your desk, you may have that.
Let's click on the settings. That's okay. Click right here on settings. Down here. Okay, so that BD. Let's click right there.
That's what I did.
Oh, okay. Sure. Oh, let's click on the settings. You're okay. We'll click right here. Okay, and so we don't have Adobe Reader on yours, but we can click Foxit Reader, and we can install Adobe Reader at another time. Okay, so sometimes another thing we see at the service desk is people say, I don't know what I clicked on. I've clicked on one too many things. How do I put this back to how I had it? So there's a quick way of doing that. If I click the back arrow at the top, which takes me back to the original default apps page, and I scroll down, there's a nice big button here that says Reset to the Microsoft Recommended Defaults. If I click this button, it takes everything back to how it was originally when I first got my computer loaded. So if I think I have made way too many changes, I've had too much fun clicking buttons, and I think, how do I make this stop? How do I make this go back to how I got it originally? It's just this button right here. So if you think that you want to change the defaults again and you want to change all of them, put them back to how it was when you got your computer loaded, right there is the button to do that. Okay, let's talk about multiple desktops, and this will be our last big skill for today. So I know Eric was able to discuss this, so let's look at it in a little more detail. A button that we will use today most often for multiple desktops is the Task View button. So like Eric mentioned, if we click on that Task View button, and it's located next to our search bar down here at the bottom. If I click Task View, it shows all of the windows I have open. It also shows how many desktops I have open. So right now I just have one desktop open, and I have my PowerPoint, a settings window open, and then my sticky notes. So if you'll notice over here at the right, if I click the Task View button and then look at the right, there's a plus sign that says New Desktop. I can click on this, and I can add as many desktops as I want. Okay, so now I've got 7 desktops open. It's basically just a clean slate. And this is great for organization. You can organize your different projects across different desktops. You can have windows open across different desktops. And it's just so we don't have a big jumble of open windows down here at the bottom. Just as easily, I can close the desktops as well. If I hover my mouse over one of them, you'll see that there's an X. I can click on that X and close them. So go ahead and try to open and close a couple of desktops for me.
You might open a program on one of them just so you can see the difference.
Mm-hmm. So it's not too bad. It's just basically like having a brand new, like say you had just signed on to your computer, you hadn't opened anything yet. It's basically just having a brand new desktop to work with nothing open so far. So another skill that we can learn with multiple desktops is how to have windows open across multiple desktops or move a window from one desktop to another. So for example, if I decide that I want my settings window to be open on my second desktop instead of my first desktop, I can right click on it and it gives me some options. I will move down to the Move To, and it can open on either desktop 2 or it'll open a brand new desktop for me and put it there. So if I click desktop 2, the settings window is gone from desktop 1. And if you see here on the bottom, it's now open in desktop 2. So we can move windows. If I go back to desktop 1, maybe I want something to show up every time I open a new desktop. I can right click on it and click Show this window on all desktops. If I click on it, and then I right click again, you'll notice there's a check mark there. So that shows that we're showing something across all desktops. If I click on desktop 2, the PowerPoint's open. If I open a new window, that PowerPoint is open every time I open that window. I can right click on it, click that button again, show this window on all desktops, and it will stop displaying it across all desktops. Does anybody have questions or want to try these skills? Need help with these skills? Go ahead and see if you can move a window from one desktop to another. Yeah?
Open this document on it.
Well, it's confusing since there's no program. So just open
Sure.
or something in there.
Yeah, we have a great question here. We have a Word program opened, and it says, first things first, we want to install updates only or ask me later. Anytime you open an Office program for the first time, you might get that option. And it's okay to click install updates only, and then it should move you past that screen.
So it's not the first time I've opened 16, but it's because it's in Windows 10 version.
Yeah, and it might be because you haven't used this particular computer before. Sure.
It's open, it's just not back to me.
Oh.
So just go ahead.
Oh dear.
So now when you go to your next one,
Oh, okay.
so now it shows up, you see it.
What?
Reboot.
It just wasn't maximized on.
Oh, I wonder if I hit
It's-
window.
You know what?
delete by mistake.
You know what? There's a command for it, but I don't know. I don't remember what it is. I'll Google it here in a minute. It's okay. Don't worry. It happens all the time. Alrighty. Does anybody have any questions about Windows 10 today? Any questions or comments? Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Like I said, there's more information for you on the PowerPoint that we didn't get a chance to cover today. But thank you very much for joining us, and check out the knowledge base if you're back in your office and you're having additional